Hey Tamers, welcome. I haven't made a video in about 2 weeks, around there. I got sick, couldn't do stuff. I had a whole lot going on. I did want to kick things back up again with some Jellymon from, we got the LM set in BT15. So this is a LM/BT15 Jellymon deck profile. With the DGX, we're still doing the Jellymon. When you do attack, by trashing one blue card from your hand, you can trash one of your opponent's Digimon's bottom Digivolution source, which is pretty good. It does multiple of things. This deck really focuses on trashing cards from your hand, so you have less than 7, so you're able to trigger effects by drawing, and then having enough cards with Jellymon in their text, so when you do effects, you can kind of put them back in the deck. So it does multiple of things, which is why we're running the Jellymon from RB1. As you already saw, we are going to run the new LM Jellymon. 4 of this card is fantastic. I think this is really tied in with my favorite Jellymon aside from the Searcher. Start of your main phase, if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, you get to draw one. And then the Inherit is 1 attack, and if you have 7 or less, you get to draw one. So this is kind of where I was saying 7 is a sweet spot for this deck. I do like going first, and if you have the Jellymon, you'll Digivolve, and then you can play a Kyoshido, so now when it's your turn, you get to draw one. Kind of pretty cool. Nice little thing there. The best Jellymon still is the RB1, just because it's a Searcher, allows you to get cards with Jellymon in their text and one Kyoshido, which is nice because you can get the option cards that have Jellymon in their text, and you could also basically get 2 Kyoshidos because they have Jellymon in their text, and then the second would be for the Tamer itself. 2 of the Jellymon with Evade, just because you could use this one. You play it, if it gets deleted, you can use Evade. It's kind of, you know, they need to hit it twice to get it deleted. Unless they reduce DP, then you're kind of out of luck there. I like it because then it is a target for you to go into Thetis, so you're able to burst. And then with the new Amphimon, you can ace when they do attack. I don't know why I said burst. Anyway, the Inherit, when attacking, trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. So more source stripping there. This one and the Jellymon, you get to trash 2. Keep in mind, if the X antibody is underneath, you can't strip it. Nothing happens, but it does still work for you to, you know, get rid of a card from your hand. 2 of the BT9 Jellymon. This one, when you play a blue Tamer, draw one, it comes up, but I mean, that's not why you're playing it. It's more of the Jellymon name factor. And the Inherit, your turn, once per turn, when an effect adds a card to your hand, return one of your opponent's level 3 or lower. Really good for the floodgates. That is it for the rookie lineup. You could do 4 of the Betamon with the Inherit of jamming, but the reason I am not doing that is because they don't have Jellymon in its name, and I want to be really consistent with being able to trash cards or, you know, bounce cards back to the deck with Jellymon and the text, and Betamon just does not do that. So you are able to play the Betamon if you want, but that is the reason why I am not running them. Not to mention the Kyoshido also gives you jamming. Anyway, run up 2 of the LM Tesla Jellymon. When attacking by trashing 1 blue card from your hand, this Digimon can be deleted by battle for the turn. Pretty cool because now the ultimate allows you to unsuspend when you do Digivolve. So it is a pseudo jamming, and it is not once per turn, so there isn't any way of unsuspending this one, but it's okay. When attacking, if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, you get to draw one. One of the best Teslas still is the RB1. When Digivolving, if you don't have a Kyoshido in play, you can play it for free. It's nice, sets you up there. So if you have the Jellymon, you draw one for your main phase, you Digivolve, you play a Kyoshido, now you have the Jellymon underneath, you can trigger the jamming. Your turn, once per turn, when one of your effects trashes a card in your hand, gain 1 memory. That is the Inherit for the Tesla, which is nice because the Amphimon, the RB1 one is 4 cost, the LM one is 3 cost, so it's just helpful to reduce the memory to play it. And I am going semi-aggro. You could go more aggro if you add the Betamons, right, for jamming, but we're running 4 of the BT9 Tesla Jellymon. This card is fantastic. End of attack, once per turn, you may trash 2 cards in your hand to unsuspend this Digimon. You could essentially get 3 hits when we get to the ultimate. you're able to get the jamming. This is why a lot of people are running the Betamon underneath, because then if you don't have the Kyoshiro to give yourself jamming, then you kind of can't do it. 6k is pretty decent. I mean, you will die most of the time, but you'll be surprised. A lot of times you do survive. So anyway, you swing, you get to trash 2 cards from your hand. In this case, it would be cards that have Jellymon in their text. Then you unsuspend, and then you're able to swing again. So that's 2 checks right there. And then the third one will come from the ultimate, which we'll get into. But to round up the champions here, 1 Lanamon just for the hybrid for game. And since we're not running the Betamons there, it just gives you jamming when you do Digivolve. You get to tuck in a level 3 blue Digimon underneath the Lanamon, and you give yourself jamming. So you'll be able to... So if you're able to swing 1, unsuspend 2, and then you hybrid for game, that'd be 3 checks right there, assuming you have the memory for it. So the new Thetismon that I was just talking about, this is the LM. Unplay and when Digivolving, by trashing 2 blue cards from your hand, you could unsuspend 1 of your Digimon and 1 of your Kyoshiro, and this Digimon gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. It's always good to have blocker, right? If you need that extra turn or if you're about to die, and you can give yourself blocker and you could survive. What's nice is that the whole gimmick with this is the Ace Amphimon, because now you give yourself blocker, and if you pass turn, if you do block, when you do blast, you could blast and then you can block. So it's pretty cool. The inherit alternates once per turn. When a card with Jellymon in its text is trashed from your hand, you may unsuspend this Digimon. So now we're starting to see the whole, trashing with Jellymon in its text. Why you want to do that, and a big reason is this new Thetismon. It is all turns. So if you do end up blast Digivolving to the Amphimon, and then it's on play, or when Digivolving has trash cards from your hand, if you do a card that has Jellymon in its text, now you unsuspend, and you could potentially block again, since you do have blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. Really nice. Now, what I was trying to say here is you attack twice, 1, unsuspend, attack again. Now, if you Digivolve, you unsuspend yourself, and you could attack again. That will leave you with 3 checks right there. 4 of the RB1, that's this man. I still think this one is better just because of what this deck is trying to do. The whole thing this deck is trying to do is sort of stun, but more importantly, just trash cards from the bottom of your opponent's sources. So this one, when you Digivolve, you can trash 2 blue cards from your hand. For each one, you may trash 1 card under one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then until the end of your opponent's turn, 1 of their Digimon or Tamers without cards under it can't suspend. So if they don't have any sources underneath, they can't suspend, which is nice because now they can't block. They can't activate any Tamers, which a lot of activations with Tamers come from suspending. End of attack, which is the inherit here. Once per turn, by returning 3 cards with Jellymon and their text from your trash to the bottom of the deck in any order, unsuspend this Digimon. I do like the Thetismon, the LM one better, because as long as you trash it, it triggers. This one is the end of attack, so you can only do it on your turn. To round it off, we're still doing 1 of the BT15 Thetismon. This one just allows you to warp from Jellymon to this Thetismon, which can be handy because then you can ace, or you can just go into the RB1 Amphimon and resolve effects. So it's always really nice to just be able to turn the the tide around by just bringing up a Jellymon and then being able to warp into it. The way you do that, this is a hand effect. If you have a Kyoshiro in play, by placing 1 Tesla from your hand as one of your Jellymon's bottom Digivolution card, that Digimon digivolves into this card for a Digivolution cost of 3, ignoring its Digivolution requirement, so you do still pay the 3. Then end of attack, it is the same as the RB1 Jellymon. End of attack, returning 3 cards with Jellymon to the bottom of the deck, you get to unsuspend. You could do 4 and 4 if you really like the Thetismon, but again, like I said, there's instances where it's really nice to be able to warp to an ultimate from a rookie that's in your breeding, going into the Mega that same turn. Let's get into the Amphimons. Let's start with the LM, the Ace one, and counter Blast Digivolve, so you can Blast Digivolve. On play, when Digivolving, you may trash up to 4 blue cards in your hand. For each one, trash any 1 card under your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, then return 1 of their Digimon or Tamers without cards under it to the hand. When attacking, by returning 3 cards with Jellymon and its text from your trash to the bottom of the deck, this Digimon gets security attack +1. So again, why I'm sticking to Jellymon cards and their text. Now, this is nice because if you do end up giving yourself the whole blocker thing, not only can you block, but now when you ace, using it when digivolving, you trash cards from the hand, and how you could bounce that Digimon back to their hand, and you're still able to block. It's actually really, really nice. So it makes this card just fantastic, and then the when attacking just gives you that extra aggression, giving you that security attack +1. The downside of that one is, besides the losing overflow 4, right? So if it gets removed from the battle area, doesn't matter how, you will lose 4 memory. In this case, it'll go to your opponent. The other thing is the on play and when digivolving, obviously you just do it once, but the one attacking is nice because, like I said, it has that extra aggression. So you're only able to do the removal once, but it is more for the aggro. We are running 3 of the old Amphimon RB1. I still think this one is much better just because it's more controlling. When digivolving and when attacking, you may trash up to 2 blue cards in your hand. For each one, trash any 1 card under your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then you may return 1 of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck. So it's even better because now if somehow you ended up returning a Quartz to the hand, they can still play it the next round or the next, whatever. Or if it's a Death X. So Amphimon just completely gets rid of it by bottom decking it. And as you all know, it's really difficult for you to get the cards from the bottom of your deck. All turns once per turn, when one of your blue Digimon would be deleted by returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their text from your trash to the bottom of the deck in any order, prevent the deletion. So now it is more protection. I have actually been using this one a little more than this one just for the aggression part. Not only that, it's just being able to blast and just fuck up your opponent. So dumb. So we are running with those 3. I am not running an Omnimon simply because I feel like you would have to run 2. So now there's the space aspect of the deck. You're going to bottom deck it a lot because there's no way of getting it. Even if, with the blue memory boost, with the training cards, you have to get a blue card. Omnimon is just white. So because of those reasons, I am not running a level 7. You definitely can, but more than likely, you're not really going to see it. Moving on to the option cards, 2 of the Startling Thunder. This card is absolutely nuts. It's insane. This is really good against Rapidmon because Rapidmons are level 4, and if you can't delete it, we'll just put it back in your hand. So it's dumb. So Startling Thunder, main effect, return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon to the owner's hand. Then if you have a Digimon with Jellymon in its name or with Jellymon and its Digivolution cards, return one of your opponent's Tamers to the owner's hand. This cripples so many decks, and I love this because you are able to, there's a random hair here. I love it because you are able to return it from the trash back to the bottom of the deck. So you can kind of keep using it, but again, it's going to be a little hard getting stuff from the bottom of the deck. But point is, you can put it back in your deck. So potentially you can use it more than twice. And then the security effect, you just activate the main effect. Keep in mind, it does have Jellymon in its text, so you are able to use the Jellymon effects by trashing this Startling Thunder. 2 mental trainings, pretty self-explanatory at this point, just reducing Digivolution cost by 2, getting 1 blue card, which is nice because now you're able to get any option card or any Digimon or blue Tamer. 2 blue memory boosts. Here, it's up to you how you want to run it. I don't remember why I did 2, but memory, if you want to go hybrid for game, that helps always. You do end up searching more, so you end up searching 4 as opposed to 2. That could be another reason why, but just keep in mind you can't get any option cards. It is just specifically blue Digimon. 1 BT9 Kyoshido, just because you still want memory setter, I think it's important. You saw that the old Amphimon is a 4 cost, and then when you do strip, the inherits do trigger, and then you gain memory, keeping your turn. Also, this Kyoshido, when you attack with a Digimon that has Jellymon in its name, or level 5 or higher if you have 7 or less, by suspending this Kyoshido, you get to draw 1. It's going to be pretty nice. So I do love the draw power in this deck. Of course, the Kyoshido helps. Multiple reasons. Memory setter, Kyoshido in its name. It's a blue card. Obviously, you could trash it and just draw power. 3 of the RB1 Kyoshidos. 4, I think, is just way too much. Alternates when one of your Digimon with Jellymon in its text or an opponent's level 5 or higher Digimon attacks if you have 7 inferior cards in your hand. By suspending this Tamer, draw 1. So you can either activate it when you attack, or when your opponent's level 5 or higher attack, then you can activate it. The reason why you want to do that is because of the following effect. Your turn, when this Tamer becomes unsuspended, gain 1 memory. While we're on that note, if you have this Gyoshido and you digivolve into the LM Tetsumon, and the Gyoshido is already suspended from when you attacked, you digivolve, you can unsuspend it. You unsuspend this Gyoshido and you do gain a memory since it is your turn and it becomes unsuspended. So it's actually pretty cool. Keep that in mind for when you do play. And to round it off, 3 of the jamming Gyoshidos because we want jamming. That's it. And that's why I'm not running the Betamons, because of the jamming. Now you're like, okay, why so many? You could get away with 2 and then just do, 4. I really want to see jamming, and I'd probably rather have this Gyoshido than the LM one, just to get the jamming. Because if I'm able to just keep swinging with jamming, then it doesn't really matter. You're going to win eventually. Now, another thing is, it does have Jellymon in its text. So you can trash it, you could search for it, you can pick it up. And worst case scenario, if you have, after you have 1, I mean, you kind of don't need the rest. So you can just use them as targets to just trash from your hand. Since I have Jellymon in its text, they'll be able to be used for those effects. So, which is why I don't think 3 is actually bad at all. I have been doing some matchups with the Rapidmon from BT15, and this Jellymon gives it a hard time because you're stripping, so now they can't armor purge, and then the Starling Thunder just sends them back to the hand. So you get rid of the Terriermons, and now it's a really good deck. I think Jellymon is a solid deck to play. Speaking of the Rapidmon from BT16, I will be doing that deck really shortly. I'm actually going to record it after this one. So personally, out of the 3 Ghost Game decks, I actually think the Jellymon is the best of the 3. What do you think?